What if the ocean wasn't just water, but memory? A memory so ancient that it predates humankind, so profound that perhaps she doesn't want to be remembered. Outside, the world seems calm, but inside, something awakens. And if, while you listen to my voice, something colossal is sliding beneath the waves right now, silent, breathing in the absolute darkness of the depths. And here's what nobody likes to admit. Myths began as stories, but many stories began with witnesses. In the next few minutes, you will find out real or legendary sea monsters, creatures that challenge science. They have tormented sailors for centuries, and they may be much closer to us than we dare to believe. So the question is not, do these monsters exist? The real question is, what else is down there that we haven't seen yet? If you're ready to hear what the ocean never wanted to reveal, so take a deep breath, because from now on, the abyss begins to speak. Are you curious about this topic? Then leave a like and subscribe to the channel for even more surprising facts. And now let's go. We know the surface of the moon better than the bottom of our oceans, and in that abyss, 80% of which is unexplored water, live the most terrifying creatures you ever imagined could be real. Imagine yourself on the deck of an old ship. The night is dense, moonless. The surrounding ocean seems like an endless black mirror. Suddenly, a movement. Something immense breaks the surface for just 3 seconds. Tentacles, scales, eyes the size of plates, and then it disappears. The crew remains silent. No one speaks, because to speak would be to admit that they saw something impossible. For centuries, sailors returned to port with stories like this. They called it madness, delirium caused by salt and loneliness. But pay attention to this detail. When hundreds of people in different times and places described the same creature, is it really just imagination? Today, ocean science confirms more than 80% of the oceans remain completely unexplored. Regions where the pressure would crush a human being instantly, abysses where light has never reached, underwater caves that could swallow entire cities. And we've barely scratched the surface. With each expedition, we discover species that defy everything we thought possible. Colossal squid with eyes the size of basketballs, fish with transparent teeth, bioluminescent creatures that look like they came straight out of alien nightmares. So the question isn't, do these legendary creatures exist? The question is, what else is down there that we haven't dared to find yet? Prepare yourself, because the abyss is about to speak. Canadian Arctic, temperatures 40 degrees below zero. An Inuit community has lived for generations fishing through holes in the ice. But there's one rule they all know. A rule that must never, ever be broken. Never fish alone, never turn your back to the hole, and never leave your hand in the water for more than 3 seconds. The Tisseruk measures approximately 4.5 meters of pure serpentine muscle. Its body is slender yet incredibly strong, like a giant eel covered in slippery, icy skin. The head varies depending on who survived to tell the tale. Some swear they saw a snake's snout, others an otter's face with exposed fangs. There are even those who say it has the features of a deformed seal, with eyes that reflect light in absolute darkness. But everyone agrees on one thing. It moves with sepulchral silence. You hear nothing. You only feel the ice vibrate slightly, seconds before being dragged away. Experts in marine cryptozoology suggest that Tisseruk may be an unknown species of giant eel adapted to extreme cold, or perhaps a mutant pinniped, a hybrid creature resulting from genetic isolation in frozen waters. What we do know is that the Arctic hides unexplored underwater caves, entire ecosystems beneath kilometers of ice. And in those icy darknesses, anything can evolve. If Tissaruk really exists, its discovery would revolutionize our understanding of adaptation in extreme environments. But imagine such a creature spreading to more accessible waters due to the melting of Arctic ice. Would you be prepared to share the ocean with a predator that drags its prey without leaving a trace? Would you dare to fish through the ice, knowing that something lurks just below? Ancient Greece. The Mediterranean boils under the relentless sun. On the beaches of Ethiopia, fishermen find shipwrecks and bodies torn apart by something that leaves no known marks. The priests consult the oracles. The answer is unanimous. Ceto has been freed. The daughter of sea chaos has come to collect her tribute. Ceto was described as an abomination of nature, a colossal fish body, 12 meters long, 20 tons of marine muscle. But the head was that of a dragon. Black and greenish scales covered its body like living armor, yellow eyes that shone even in broad daylight, and its jaw, capable of breaking a ship in half with a single bite. Poseidon, the god of the seas, sent her to destroy Ethiopia as punishment. Entire cities were evacuated, human sacrifices were offered, until Perseus, hero of heroes, used Medusa's severed head to turn it to stone. Modern scholars believe that the myth of Ceto originated from real encounters with giant whales, whale sharks, or even marine fossils exposed by earthquakes. But there's something disturbing. Recent excavations in the Mediterranean have revealed the skeletal remains of marine creatures of unknown species, some over 15 meters long. Creatures that lived less than 2,000 years ago. Coincidence? Or perhaps the legend has a much more solid foundation than we want to believe? Ceto was not just a monster. He was a symbol. He represented the chaos that humans cannot control, the raw power of nature in the face of human arrogance. And if you stop to think about it, how many times do we ignore the ocean's warnings? How many times do we challenge what we don't understand? If the gods existed, what creature would they send today to remind us of our place? India, 5th century. On the banks of the Ganges River, monks build temples dedicated to aquatic deities. On the stone walls, they carve figures of a creature that protects the sacred waters, but also makes them deadly for the impure. His name, Makara. Describing Makara is to defy logic. Imagine a crocodile, but with an elephant's trunk, a fish's tail, a boar's tusks, and a tiger's claws. The creature measured between 10 and 15 meters and weighed about 10 tons. Its skin was covered in scales as hard as stone. According to scripture, not even spears could pierce it. In shallow waters, Makara moved with the agility of a pure predator. In the depths, it became invisible, waiting, always waiting. For Hindus and Buddhists, Makara was a symbol of fertility, power, and protection. Mount of Ganga, goddess of the Ganges River, guardian of submerged treasures, creature that separated the worthy from the condemned. But look what science has found. Makara sculptures aren't just in India, they're in Cambodia, Indonesia, Thailand, scattered throughout Southeast Asia, and they all of them show the same creature, same proportions, same impossible design. How could civilizations separated by entire oceans describe exactly the same monster? Some researchers suggest that Makara may have been inspired by giant saltwater crocodiles, species that did indeed exist and could exceed 8 meters in length. Others believe in something more disturbing, a true hybrid predator, the result of unique ecological conditions in tropical rivers, a species that evolved and then disappeared without leaving complete fossils. If Makara were real, would you cross a river knowing she could be right below? August 6, 1848, South Atlantic Ocean. The British ship HMS Daedalus is returning from India when, at 5 p.m., the lookout officer shouts, "Creature to starboard!" The entire crew rushes to the deck, and what they see will change naval history forever. The creature was over 15 meters long, maybe 20. No one could see its entire body because it disappeared into the depths. Cylindrical body, thick as a tree trunk. Dark skin, brown or almost black, covered in something that glistened in the sun. Scales, mucus, nobody knew. Its head rose above the waves. No fins visible, no ears, just fixed eyes, and a jaw that moved slowly, as if breathing air for the first time. It remained visible for 20 minutes. It swam in a straight line, completely ignoring the ship. And then it submerged. No waves, no sound. It just disappeared. Captain Peter Mikuhei officially recorded the sighting. Drawings were made. Statements were signed. The British Admiralty investigated and found no explanation. Today, skeptics suggest it was a giant oarfish, creatures that can reach 11 meters in length and swim vertically. Others speak of colossal eels or deformed whales. But here's the disturbing detail. Between the 16th and 19th centuries, hundreds of ships reported identical sightings. Same creature, same behavior, same description. In 2020, marine scientists confirmed that we know less than 10% of the species that inhabit depths greater than 1,000 meters. So tell me, if something this size can hide so well, what else is down there? Oarfish, gulper eels, colossal squid. All these creatures were considered myths until they were captured or filmed. They were all impossible until they weren't anymore. If you were on that ship, would you be able to sleep knowing that something like that was swimming beneath you? Bahamas, Andros Island. In the center of the island, there are holes in the ocean, blue holes, underwater caves that descend hundreds of meters into absolute darkness. The locals don't fish near them, they don't swim, they don't get close, because they know that something lives inside, something that pulls, something that devours. Lusca is described as an impossible hybrid. Octopus, squid, and shark fused into a living nightmare. Tentacles that can reach 20 to 23 meters in length. Suckers the size of plates covered in razor-sharp teeth. A gigantic dark red body capable of changing color to perfectly camouflage itself among the rocks. But what's most terrifying isn't the size, it's the behavior. Lusca creates whirlpools, artificial currents that suck everything into the blue holes. Small boats disappear, divers never return. And when they find the wreckage, there are marks, circular marks, suction cup marks. Colossal squid exist. They've been filmed. Some exceed 10 meters in length and have the strength to sink whales. Giant Pacific octopuses can have tentacles measuring 6 meters and intelligence comparable to that of dolphins. Now imagine an isolated species evolving for millennia in caves without light, without competition, without predators, growing without natural limits. Scientists who explored blue holes report tunnels that descend more than 200 meters, and they never found the bottom. In 2019, an underwater expedition was sent to the blue hole of Andros. They descended 150 meters. The cameras captured something enormous moving in the absolute darkness. The recording was cut. The expedition was cancelled. No public report was released. Why? Would you dive into a blue hole knowing that something might be watching you from below. So now answer me this: what's worse, to know that these creatures exist or not to know? Because every time we descend into the depths, we invade a world that has existed for millions of years without us, a world that doesn't need us, a world that perhaps doesn't want us to be there. Are we exploiting or violating? Are we discovering or disturbing? And if these creatures remain hidden, is it by choice? Is it a survival instinct? Or is it a warning? Perhaps the ocean tells us its stories through legends because it knows we're not ready for the truth. What if, at this very moment, in the Bahamas, a fisherman looks down and sees colossal eyes blinking in the dark blue? What if, in the Arctic, the ice cracks, not because of global warming, but because of something awakening? What if, in the Mediterranean, a 12-meter shadow glided beneath a cruise ship without anyone noticing? What if the abyss is already speaking, but we simply refuse to listen? So now I ask you, if you could dive into the depths and finally see, face to face, one of these creatures, would you go? Comment below. I want to know. And if you've made it this far, it means you're different. You're not afraid to look at the unknown. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Because in the coming weeks, we're going to dive even deeper. Don't miss the next video, because the abyss still has much to say.